Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3.
Hey! That was very nice.
That is the egg crack challenge that has been going viral on TikTok. Last week on Parenting Playbook, we discussed how this is a parenting prank that has gone wrong for many.
Clinical psychologist Dr. Lisa Ferrari and Dr. Carla Fry, also known as Clinically Happy, are here today to talk about this trend and take a deeper dive into navigating posts your kids as content on social media. Let's begin with that video and videos like that one, the egg crack challenge. What's your take on this TikTok trend and the effect pranks like this can have on kids?
Well, truthfully, it was really uncomfortable to watch. We found it to be one of the worst trends that we've witnessed, especially because the harm being done is from, an adult to a child. And although we understand that there is no harm intended on the part of the parent, there are definitely negative impacts that occur when a child is the recipient of that kind of a prank being demonstrated by a parent online. For instance, the child is what's happening there relationally is something for parents to consider, which is the betrayal of trust in that moment. The child is anticipating engaging in a fun activity, and essentially the parents lied to them. And in any relationship, that would be sort of a rupture in trust. In addition to that, the embarrassment. I mean, the child knows that they're online and that people can see what's just transpired.
Yep, they know
Sure.
the camera's on.
Yeah. And lastly, in validation, we see that the parent's having a really good time and the child is clearly not. So in that moment, the child feels like the motivation or the joy of that parent is more important than their emotional well-being in that moment.
Yeah, well, listen, posting your kids as content isn't exactly new, and it's probably not going away anytime soon. So what is your advice? Do you have advice for parents? How can they decide what is something that is okay to post and what might cross a boundary?
Absolutely. It starts with asking yourself really earnest and honest question. Actually, one question to start with. What's your why? When you're about to post your child on anything, why are you doing it? And, you want to ask yourself, is it because I want to look like a rock star parent? Is it because I want to brag about my kid, how my kid looks or what their accomplishments are? Maybe it's you're wanting to show a parenting struggle, let's say, for example, or jump on a parent post trend. But at the end of the day, if the post of your child is to meet your needs, not the needs of your child, we want you to double think it. Because of course your likes or your follows, nothing to meet the needs of your kids, right? They do, it's all about meeting your needs. So the rule of thumb really is, if you're not sure about your why, don't post it or post yourself.
That's very simple, yet it makes sense. Now, some parents record nonstop. I'm going to argue that they're not asking that question very often because they're always recording. So let's talk about the impact that has on a child when the camera, when the phone seems to be on more than it is off.
Right. And like the camera's rolling and there are really, we have found that there's really negative mental health effects, definitely in terms of their social and emotional well-being. Kids typically that are online or being filmed and it's constantly sort of in the presence in their environment, we noticed have more sort of body surveillance issues where they are constantly looking at the imperfections when they see themselves online as well. So if they're continually being posted online, they'll get really, really preoccupied with, is their nose straight? Are their shoulders too broad? Really looking at those imperfections and being concerned about how others are perceiving them.
And that others' perception of them really makes them who they are. Right? Yeah, for sure. And then, online, there's this pressure to be happy. right? And so when they're being filmed all the time, a child tends to feel like they can't show their real emotions, and they're only okay if they're happy, right? There's that smile factor, and whether they're filmed all day or not, kids know what the expectation is. And from a mental health perspective, that really sets kids up to have challenges in adolescence and beyond, to be able to really be in touch with their own emotions, right? And boundaries is really like good to highlight.
Right.
Yeah, you know, I think we're all still trying to figure out what the effects are and how to navigate social media. And there are reports that child labor laws are being considered, similar to those that we might see in the film and television industry when kids are participating in content in those industries, something that generates income. What are your thoughts on this for parents, perhaps, when it comes to their kids and posting content for profit online?
Right. Well, I mean, you're correct, and it's still really the Wild West. This form of entertainment is still very new, and the developmental research is still trying to keep up with the effects on kids. We believe that it's up to the parent to be protective. That is their role, and we are confident that the majority of parents can be. They can make decisions that are great to keep their kids safe. We are seeing more and more in the literature and in the media that there have been some exploitive practices that have made it incredibly unsafe for kids, and where the filming has become more of a focus rather than the child's well-being, and there have been sort of coercive kinds of parenting in order to get the likes, the views, and the filming. So I think in some of those more extreme cases, it might be worthwhile to consider, labor laws that apply to film and TV in some of those more extreme circumstances. But we would like to think that parents can be protective and make good decisions if they're gonna put their kids online.
That's our job, first and foremost. Dr.
Yes.
Carla, final words of advice for parents when it comes to posting their kids online?
Yeah, absolutely. The place to check is if your online and offline values are aligned. If you find that you have a tendency to allow unkindness when the camera's on, or teasing much more than you would when the camera's off. If you feel like you've got a bit of a perspective wherein if it's got likes, it's okay, then you're in trouble. When you have alignment in how you parent and what you model, whether the camera's on or off, you'll be golden. It's just about asking those questions.
All right.
All right, we're going to have to leave it there, but a fascinating conversation to be sure. Doctors Lisa Ferrari and Carla Fry, thank you both so much for joining us this morning.